For today's hot topic, we're going to be taking a look at the Somali fraud epidemic happening in America, particularly that in Minnesota. But we're not just going to have a look at that, we're also going to be doing a deep dive into the cover-up being orchestrated by the left. Now, this all became a big deal after the journalist and YouTuber by the name of Nick Shirley ran an independent expose and put it online for the world to see. He came well prepared with tip-offs and statistics, but his goal was to add a visual aid to show you, the viewer, just how bad the problem actually was. In a nutshell, the Somali community within America have apparently been running wild, opening fraudulent businesses like health and learning centers for the purpose of collecting government incentives and benefits and grants, when in all of these cases they're uncovering, they're not even real businesses in the first place. I'm sure you've all seen the infamous Quality Learning Center, which was supposed to be a children's daycare, but they couldn't even spell the word learning on the sign out front. And that's just how blatant and obvious this fraud is to spot. So that's what Nick wanted to showcase for everyone. And well, let's just have a look at what he saw.
Now we're being followed by the Somalis. This is another daycare center, absolutely no signage, and there's no footprints in the snow of children playing outside. $5 million within the past
$5.9 million in 2 years. $5.9 million they received in 2 years. That facility right there.
So like I said, he's done his research, he knows what's going on, he's already being followed by other Somalis from the community because he's been going from business to business showing what's going on, and obviously they can't allow that, so they're trying to intimidate him. Let's keep on watching.
And now we have a group of Somalis telling us in our vehicle right now.
From this daycare center, we headed over to the infamous Quality Learning Center, which actually spells Quality Learning Center on the outside of their sign. That's how blatant this fraud is here at this daycare.
Don't open up!
So this is Quality Learning Center. I meant to say Quality Learning Center.
Don't open
They
up!
said they spelt learning wrong.
Don't open up!
How do you have ice here, ma'am? I'm literally a YouTuber.
Don't open up!
Ma'am, what do you think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
Don't open up!
So of course there has to be the stereotypical leftist Karen there who's apparently on the side of defrauding your country and the taxpayer.
We have ice!
And what do you think about this place being licensed for 99 children
Don't open up!
and getting $4 million
Don't
over the
open up! It's ice!
$4 million in the last 2 years?
Go away!
What do you think about that? Are you in
Go
favor?
away!
Are you in favor of that?
Go away!
You know where
You're
they-
not welcome here!
Are you-
Shame on you!
Are you in favor of $1.9
Shame
million
on you!
going
It's ice!
illegally,
Don't open up!
fraudulently to this business that has Quality Learning Center but can't even spell learning right on the door?
Don't open up!
Ma'am, we are not ICE.
I don't care who you are, you don't belong here.
The usual suspects, am I right? I don't care who you are. I'm not even willing to learn about who you are and why you're here. You don't look like me, so I don't think you belong here, and I'm going to attack you. Typical.
I belong here just like you belong here.
Don't open up! It's ice!
You do realize that there's supposed to be 99 children in here at this building, but there's no one here. This is a child daycare
Minnesota
center.
says 99 children. Paid $1.9 million this year in CCAP funding. Do you know where the children are? Were they kidnapped? They run away? Where are the children? This is state of Minnesota. Right here.
And who are you?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
And who are you with?
Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley on YouTube.
Yeah, so who are you with here?
You can literally see the gears turning in her head. It looks like she's actually thinking for a moment like, man, am I the one who's wrong here? I might be the one who's wrong here. These guys are clearly here with an express purpose. I'm just being loud and annoying.
Oh, he's just been doing some research investigating the fraud that's taking place here in
Yeah,
Minnesota.
I'm with Nick Shirley.
This lady, she's calling us ICE. We're just trying to put law and order back in the streets of the United States. Get rid of all the fraud.
So he does a lot more investigation into it. It's all very interesting. You should go have a look. But of course, as you can imagine, the mainstream media like CNN have to go on the attack, calling it far-right influencer falsely alleges fraud in Minnesota daycare. They always immediately jump to saying far-right because it has a bad connotation to it, just as far-left does. But he's not far-right. He's just a normal American who happens to lean to the right rather than to the left. They always put that negative label on it to suit their agenda.
We're from CNN. Can we talk to you? This is MAGA YouTuber Nick Shirley. Back at a daycare in Minnesota, he alleged was a fraudulent facility in a now viral video.
People are going to say this is a left or right issue, but no, fraud is fraud. And so I'm not out here trying to put a twist on things.
Shirley's viral video, released over the weekend, in which he says he's uncovering tens of millions of dollars in fraud at Minneapolis daycares run by the Somali community, was retweeted by Elon Musk and Vice President J.D. Vance. In the video, Shirley tries to open locked doors and talk to people at various daycares he claims are frauds.
Did you come during their normal operating hours when you came to visit?
I came at 11 a.m., I believe, and I also came the following day later in the day. The point of it is not whether or not I came at the right time of their operation hours. The point is that blacked out doors, they can't give you any information. You call that number, no one answers. I wasn't trying to go inside, and there should be a way for somebody to actually be able to call that number and somebody to be able to answer. These aren't real businesses.
But surely you don't think a daycare should just be unlocked. You shouldn't be able to just walk into a
There
daycare.
should be a reception.
Lady, open your eyes. You're stood right out front of the Quality Leering Center, and he's right. The doors are blacked out, there's no reception, there's no way to get in touch to enroll a child if you wanted to. He visited all of these places, didn't find any kids, didn't find any sign that it's an actual legitimate business. I don't know how anyone could watch his video and disagree that there's clearly evident fraud going on, but she's got an agenda to push. She has to tell herself all these lies and make it seem like she's right in this situation, and he's wrong.
No, every daycare is locked.
Their doors are locked.
And so, okay, you bring up a fair point. Then why can't they actually give me information how to enroll a child?
Federal law enforcement has been investigating fraud in Minnesota for several years. Both Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel said on social media they've indicted dozens of defendants. DHS has posted multiple videos of agents they say are conducting a massive fraud investigation.
Do you think that federal law enforcement hasn't done enough? I mean, they would say, look, these fraud cases have been going on, but they've already done like 80 indictments. The cases have been going on, for years.
And why did I show up one day in Minnesota and go to all these daycares, no children, they're receiving millions of dollars. We uncovered nearly $110 million in fraud in one day.
How do you know that all the allegations that you're making are true?
How do I know that they're true? Well, we showed you guys what was happening, and then you guys can go ahead and make your own analysis.
We're coming so we can make our own analysis. Are you 100% sure you're true?
Yeah, I am 100% sure I'm true.
Are you 100% sure you're true? The sentence doesn't even sound correct, so he processes it for a minute like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm true. I think what she meant to say was, are you 100% sure you're correct? But he answers her directly, whatever.
CNN is looking into Shirley's claims.
So obviously they run the usual narrative like this guy's just a far-right racist. But I'll let you know now, further investigations have been done by the government, and it turns out, yeah, there's a big fraud problem in the Somali community, especially in Minnesota. So Nick blows up and goes insanely viral, and even ends up himself testifying within congressional hearings. Now, enter Andrew Callahan. Andrew himself is a journalist. You may recognize the name from Channel 5 or All Gas No Breaks back in the day. There was a time where I had a great deal of respect for this guy, but honestly, after seeing how this situation unfolded, I have to say I've lost all respect for him entirely. So Nick Shirley agrees to sit down and have a candid, long-form interview with Andrew Callahan, face-to-face. They're going to discuss this issue among many other issues. Now, what happens in the aftermath is Nick comes out to say Andrew doctored the footage to make it look more like his side was correct and Nick Shirley was just a bumbling idiot. Fortunately for Nick Shirley, he happened to have a secret camera running, so we could show everyone after the fact the real encounter they had versus the doctored encounter Andrew Callahan posted for the world to see. And that's what we're going to have a look at next.
All right, this is super important, and I also learned a great lesson here. So the other week, I sat down with Andrew Callahan in Channel 5 to do a sit-down podcast-style interview for his channel. And when he goes and posts the video, I see he just posted an hour-long interview. I said, well, that's weird, because we actually spoke for around 2.5 hours. And then I go and watch the interview, I'm saying, well, what is this? This is not what happened. For instance, this clip right here.
What American city is prospering right now?
Austin.
Austin. Name another one.
El Paso, Texas.
El Paso, Texas is prospering.
Yeah. Nashville's doing good. Phoenix is doing good. Basically, any place with low state tax is getting a lot of...
In any place that's not Democrat.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean...
Name a Democrat city that's prospering right now.
Well, it would have to be one that's affordable.
Name one.
Denver.
Why are you smirking? It's not prospering.
All right, so that's the clip Andrew posted, but this is the actual interaction of how it went.
Denver.
Why are you smirking?
Because I don't know if it's prospering or
It's
not.
not. See, you can't even answer the question. It's not prospering. Denver's not prospering either.
I agree that Democrat-run states are doing badly.
So clearly, within the real encounter, the actual encounter, Andrew concedes to Nick that it's true, Democrat-run states are doing poorly in comparison to Republican-run states. If it's a true fact and you're an actual journalist, why would you omit that from the final edit? But that's unrelated to what we're talking about here. Anyway, then they move on to talking about the Somali fraud, and Nick's claim that 89% of fraud cases in the state are committed by the Somali community.
This is the interaction that Andrew posted.
Somali community, or do you see it as both?
89% of the fraud is being committed by Somalians.
Where exactly is that statistic from?
You can pull it up on the screen. You'll find it.
I just want to know where it's from.
You want me to find it right now?
For sure, just so I can, I don't know, I believe you. I just want to make sure we have the exact.
Here, right here. Yeah, and it's not racist to say it.
So we get some conveniently sneaky editing and an overlay on the screen of a news article from a left-wing source attempting to debunk the claim Nick is making. That makes Andrew look like he's correct in this instance. But let's see what the actual interaction looked like between Nick and Andrew.
89% of those charged in connection with major.
Wow. Identified as Somali Americans.
Well, looks like we do.
I'm interested to see what you put in this interview because it
Looks like there's a problem with fraud.
So there you go. Once again, he concedes this argument to Nick after reading the facts and the stats, and he even says it out loud. You know what? It looks like we do have a big problem with fraud within the Somali community. And Nick sees through this right away. He says out loud as well, I wonder what you're actually going to put in the edit here. He could just tell in that moment, Andrew's most definitely just going to edit this one out because there's no way he's going to let him be right in this situation. So then we get the response from Andrew.
All right, so normally and historically, my policy for whenever somebody is saying some factually inaccurate stuff about me online is to turn the other cheek, keep my head down, and get back to grinding. But in this case, with Mr. Nick Shirley, who is now falsely accusing me of conducting an unfairly edited interview, I think I'm going to pick option 2 and let people know what went down.
It's not factually untrue. The evidence doesn't lie, and we just saw the evidence. And no way you spin this is going to change that for anybody. But let's hear your attempt.
Journalistic integrity is something that I kind of take a little bit seriously, and I can see a future wherein access is limited to prominent people, especially conservatives, if I don't dispel this false narrative immediately in its entirety right the heck now.
If journalistic integrity is so important to you, then why would you remove that section from the actual interview? It's the most central part of the conversation. It's the most important scene from within the interview. It's the only thing you should have been focused on putting in there because it actually proves a point.
Let's begin with an editing lesson. So when we're dealing with a long-form interview of somebody who talks very slowly and circles back to repetitive talking points, one of the first things that we do in post-production is cutting what's called dead air, which means long pauses between words or sentences or fixable verbal stammers that slow down the conversation and risk boring the viewer. So in this raw interview with Nick, which had a total runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes, we had to cut nearly half an hour of dead air to make it listenable. Many people like to choose their words carefully, so I get it, but there was a couple points in the interview that even in person we had to have Nick repeat himself because the crew felt that no amount of corrective editing would possibly be able to make him sound normal.
Oh, okay, so that's the way you're going to go with this? You're going to attack Nick Shirley because he has a speech impediment and make it out like, oh, we had to edit the clips down because he's just such a bumbling fool who can't even get his words out. If it weren't for us, he wouldn't have sounded smart about anything at all. There is no real correlation between someone's intelligence and their verbal communicating ability. There's lots of examples like that in the past. Elon Musk. Every time Elon Musk makes a speech, he's stammering and processing his words. He still comes off sounding like one of the smartest guys on the planet. Such a lazy and just pathetic attack on this guy to cover up his own actions.
It's been an interesting few days, past 72 hours. My video on the expose of the fraud in Minnesota is the most viewed video ever, longer than 10 minutes, other than Mr. Beast.
Can you say the fraud in Minnesota again? Because you kind of stuttered.
Yeah. Wait, are there going to be cuts in this or just going to be one take?
Which will make it perfect.
Like, yeah, okay, we get it, man. There's nothing wrong with doing a little bit of corrective editing to clean up your video and make it a smoother watch for your viewers. But don't lean on that as the reasoning for why you conveniently left out the most important part of your dialogue with Nick Shirley, in which you concede to him twice that he is correct and you were wrong in this instance. There's no journalistic integrity involved here anywhere. And don't toss in your sly sneak disses to make it out like Nick Shirley's just a dumb idiot who can't speak right. It's completely disingenuous to fall back onto that.
89% of the fraud is being committed by Somalians, and 89% of the fraud being committed inside Minnesota is by the Somali population. 89% of the fraud happening by people who were brought into our country and then committing fraud. So 89% of the fraud happening in Minnesota is from the Somali population.
Right, but 95% of Somali Americans in Minnesota are legal.
Yeah, 89% of Somalians are committing fraud.
Why would Andrew even make that argument? Nick's not even talking about whether it's illegal or legal citizens of the country doing this. If 89% of a certain demographic are committing widespread fraud, that issue needs to be addressed, not just swept under the rug.
89% of the population, or 89% of the fraud being committed in Minnesota is by Somalians.
And just so we can put that on screen to verify, do you know where that data is from?
Yes, you can put it up on screen. It's public.
So yeah, according to Andrew Callahan, Nick Shirley just couldn't shut up about the whole 89% thing. He just kept repeating it over and over and over again, so much so that Andrew didn't want to bore his audience by including it in the clip. That's not journalistic integrity, my friend. You need to contend with the argument. If you don't think it's true, you need to counter it and prove him wrong, not just omit it from the clip entirely. And I'm sorry if I get a bit too heated or passionate about this issue here. It just really bothers me deep down to see the left do this over and over and over again. So many of the arguments they make, you can't actually make without telling yourself and everybody else continuous lies or withholding information and facts altogether. So now we're going to talk facts. In America, 81% of all Somali Americans will end up living off the government, living off of benefits. For my United Kingdom viewers over here, that number is 72.4% of all Somali Brits, compared to just 16.9% for native English people. You just can't deny that there's a culture of sponging within this particular demographic. Why would a culture like that have any issue going on to then commit widespread fraud? Now, this goes back to the whole left versus right debate about whether we should allow widespread immigration. Why are the left so content with allowing a particular demographic that's only going to be a burden on the state and the taxpayer? That whole aspect of it isn't even up for debate. We have the numbers, we have the stats, actual government stats, and the stats don't lie. This isn't about attacking Somali people for being Somali. I wouldn't have an issue with someone just because they're Somali. It's about the behaviors of the certain demographic. There's a difference between taking issue with someone's behaviors because of what they are versus having an issue with someone for who they are and where they come from. It would be the exact same issue if everyone from the state of Maryland was committing widespread fraud. The rest of the United States would be all up in arms about all these people from Maryland. It's not about where they're from, it's about what they're doing. But of course the left immediately need to go on the defense, because if they admit that this is actually an issue, then they then have to admit that the right were correct about aspects of immigration leading to social problems at times. I'll even tell you now, I don't even directly blame Somali people for committing widespread fraud. You don't get to choose what kind of culture you're brought up in. When you learn something from an early age, that's so deeply ingrained within your mind, it takes a lot to shake that behavior. And we can't blame someone for being born somewhere. You don't get to choose that. But what we do get to choose is how we, from the outside, look at and handle a situation from our perspective. We can't just be denying that something like this is even happening. That's what the left are doing in America. And we definitely shouldn't be sheltering them and allowing it to continue happening. That's not going to be good for anyone in your country, especially you, the taxpayer. The current left wing within the Western world are just unwilling to sit down and look at the numbers, to look at the actual statistics, which would allow you to come to a reasonable conclusion. They're just too bent on doing what they think it means to be a good person, even if that means allowing widespread fraud or widespread benefit sponging at the expense of the taxpayer and everyone around them. Because you're otherwise just accepting it as your own burden, your own responsibility to take care of a massive portion of a population who are unwilling to contribute anything to make your life better. And that's not fair. That's not democracy. If they're committing widespread fraud like they're doing in Minnesota, then it's just criminal activity. And why would you be okay with that? And that's the middle ground we all need to reach together. The left clearly want to allow mass immigration. The right clearly have an issue with mass immigration. So why can't we just meet in the middle, have better immigration control, filter out, get that 19% or whatever of people who are actually going to contribute and work hard? We need to do better interviews. We need to take better looks at people and their background to make sure they're actually going to do that for us. And that falls on the government. But the left are doing everything in their power currently to make sure we don't get a government that's willing to do that. And that's what I just don't understand. We don't need to argue about this. We don't need to be telling lies and covering up the facts to continue arguing about this. It's only going to inhibit progress, and that falls entirely on the left. And that's where I'm going to end this video before I keep on ranting. Everybody, don't use what you've seen in this video today to then direct hatred at Somali people. Like I said, you don't get to decide what culture you grow up in. All we can do from our society is everything in our power to help these people improve themselves. Don't ridicule them for it. Don't judge them for it. They will get better with time. Humanity will always get better with time. We just need to allow it to happen. The left just needs to allow it to happen. Thank you so much to everyone who's watching, and thank you even more to everyone who subscribed. I was so happy to see I hit 1K subscribers. Since then, it's nearly doubled, I'm pretty sure. So thank you so much, and I'll see you all in the next one.